Okay, so this is a pretty tricky subject to talk about online, but also in general. It's deep depression. If you're extremely depressed or get depressed at random times in the day, I want to start off telling you what I'm hoping to convey in this video. It's my hope here that I can make you feel a little bit stronger and see the world a little bit better. Now, my words are coming from my own personal life, and I get it. It seems like an impossible feat. If there's a chance, I'm going to try. I promise not to talk to you like you're an idiot with some driest tone possible. You're upset, you're not stupid. What I want to share with you is a new perspective of how to see the world, to actually change your mental framework of how you interpret things around you and things that happen to you, or the way you can behave. Because what you think is true may not actually be the truth. There are multiple truths. I want to share with you an ugly way I used to see my world. I actually found myself really competitive in my nature, but about my sadness. And it's just this horrible way I used to think. I would think of people and I'd look at them and be like, they don't even know. And those people over there, like, if they only knew how much pain I was in and how things horribly could be and feel, they won't bitch about that and their stupid little problems. I'd think they were stupid and oblivious to everything. And I'd be like, they're a bunch of drones, whatever, they don't know anything. If only they felt what I felt. And I was just like, it wasn't just me that has done this. Many people end up doing this. It's crazy. So what worked for me to begin my journey to happiness was to let go of this little Gollum inside me, latching onto the pain. I didn't really want the pain, I just thought it was part of me. But it's not part of you. It's something you go through. There's no contest, there's no war about who feels the worst. The pain you feel isn't who you are, and it's definitely not an identity. It's just like anything that you own in your life isn't really who you actually are. It's just something that's in it. I want you to think about it like a toy you used to have when you were a kid, and how excited you used to be, but now you think about it and it seems insignificant in hindsight. Fun, but not a big deal. That is how you should see your pain. Something you should be able to look back on and be like, oh, well, that was silly. But that doesn't mean that it was any less important. It's just something that's in your life, not a part of you. This is something that you can get through. It's really important to see that, you're not bound to feel this way. We'll get back into that later. So a little bit about me. I've been dealing with depression my whole entire life. As far as back as I can remember, I want it to be clear that I do know what you're feeling. Now here, I'm hoping to not tell you all that crap that people always told me when I opened up to them, and they'd just be like, yeah, I know, oh yeah, and here's some tricks and tips. And that stuff always drove me crazy. I want to just tell you about what worked for me, and hopefully it can work for you, because I feel like I've really been through it. I'm 41 now, and I've had a lot of experience with this. I've helped many people through suicide hotlines as well, and I can't really do that here with you one-on-one. So for this particular video, I feel like it's the best I can do is to share what helped me personally. Maybe you'll be able to relate to this, but I used to go to therapy for my depression, and I would have horrible days. I'd wake up depressed. I'd want to die at night, in the morning, when I got to work, pretty much all day. And then as soon as I walked into therapy, I was fine. I didn't have any of the pain. I couldn't work through it with them. I just felt great, and it was spoiled the whole thing because I kind of had this defense mechanism around my depression. It was almost like I was trying to protect my depression. So I knew it was this really weird thing that I couldn't really talk about, especially like in an authentic way. It was kind of more in a memory way, but I didn't feel it. And because my pain hit on me, or I hid my pain, this would happen whenever I found myself in a place that I could pretty much heal. Or around people that could heal me. So it was a pretty crappy catch-22. And here's the thing, is it never really went away for me. But what it did is teach me something more valuable than that. It taught me about preparation. Something that I think is actually probably more valuable than kind of treating The depression, it's kind of more of a prevention of depression. It relies on internal comforts and mental comforts versus external, such as a therapist or people to talk to or journaling, whatever, all those things. I was able to control myself and kind of get into it. So the way I did that, so I learned that depression is just like a mood. It's just something that's like a stoplight instead of a green light. And I just get slammed in the face randomly with crippling depression. I could barely go about my day. I could barely talk to somebody or even just hold my head up. I just wanted to go to sleep. And then randomly it's gone. And like it's not there, never has been, and I'm totally fine. So it's this weird thing that comes and goes, and I can't predict it or when. I don't even know when it might come. So I learned my own way to prep. That's the key. So I found out that I know that I'm not in control of if it comes. If I were prepared for when it comes, I'd be better off. So I would have my EDC of some sorts, right? Of comforts, things that I liked and made me kind of safe and feeling good. Things that I'd have somebody that I could text with or just get a little mini break, maybe solitaire on my phone, things that I just really felt comfortable with, some kind of like a little snack, whatever it was to help me through a rough day. I'd always keep that with me, kind of like a little med kit. And this med kit for my moods was a game changer. And it was funny because once I started having this little like comfort box or bag, just having that in the back of my mind that I had that to rely on, that crutch, it kind of gave me this weird result of where I didn't need it because I had it, which was perfect. But when I did need it and I went out like to the van and I did my thing, I just kind of like zoned out for a minute, had my little break, I could actually just embrace it and be like, all right, I'm going to be sad. I'm going to try to comfort it right now, really quick. And then I can get back to work. And then I'd get back to work and feel really good because I took a moment just to really pay attention and not fight off the depression, but kind of embrace it for a minute. So because like I was saying, there's a lot of weird psyche happening inside, at least for myself, where I was trying to defend my depression. It was like almost like this like evil little bug demon thing. I did not want to be, I just wanted to be fed. So I'd feed it a little and that let me starve it for longer till it started to shrink and shrink and shrink. One important thing that, you hear it all the time, but one of my comforts that I think really, really works is really deep breathing, getting present in the moment. It doesn't matter what you're thinking about, whatever, meditation is great, but deep breathing is really key, and that was like kind of a significant thing. But I would do it throughout the day, not only just in my like little comfort zone. So when you find yourself in this little pocket of pain, think about it kind of like you're building a little callus. You're strengthening your mind just a little bit here and a little bit there so you can build up that mental callus. When you do think about, like if you did think about things getting worse, it's not an impending doom. That's called anxiety, basically. So you have to keep it grounded in reality, and that's what that's supposed to do. It's like, no, it can be better and it can be worse, but it's not either. It is this. It is a matter of fact. And bringing in a little logic really keeps you a little more stable. And the way that it can get better is if you react to the world in a healthier perspective. And the snowball collects towards the elimination of this freaking annoying way of living with this like dark thoughts, depression, and pain. So you'll gain a little confidence, you'll act a little more confident, which in turn makes people like you a little more. And then you do a little bit better job at something, and then it just kind of builds and builds. So that's why I say you don't have to actually push yourself completely hard at any given moment to get through all this and make all this stop and be totally in control. You just gotta do what you can. Go back to that callus analogy, just a little bit. You don't have to do it all at once, and in fact, it won't work. You won't build those calluses. And those calluses are what you're going to be living with, and you'll be rock hard, untouchable as time goes on. So I don't know if I've really talked about this, but I'm a really dark dude. I mean, dealing with the depression growing up and most of my life, there's just a lot of horrible things in my mind and sadness and pain. And one of those things that I would just kind of think that I was a zombie. So I kind of saw myself as like this dead man walking, and then I kind of turned that into something good, which was, if I'm already dead, then nothing can hurt me. So I figured, okay, great. That means I could do and say whatever the hell I wanted, because I was basically dead anyway. I was dead inside, and I thought everybody hated me, so on and so on. So I figured, well, all right, I'm basically gone anyways in my head. Might as well be anyone I wanted to be. And that's the great thing, is I would strive for all of the authentic desires in my life. If I wanted to start skateboarding, I would do that. If I wanted to dress stupid because I like this thing, I would dress that way. If I wanted to talk a certain way or get a dumb haircut, I did that, because to me, it didn't matter. Everything was up for grabs. I could do whatever I wanted. It was kind of like this superpower. I no longer could care what anybody thought, because that part of me was just a zombie. So I might as well build a new version of me that's exactly how I wanted it to be. Think about it kind of like a phoenix rises from its ashes. It's creating something new from the end of an era. So yeah, I ended up looking at my depression as a dying off and blossoming of a new sort of model of myself, like a new and improved 2.0 Jeff. So when you're considering changing a part of you and thinking about becoming something new, I want you to remember this line, because it's really important. You owe it to absolutely no one to stay or be the same as you have always been. Once you start kind of developing this new 2.0 version, you're going to start to realize you're going to be okay. But you're not really doing great. You're kind of saying, oh, I'm fine. You're not, I'm good. But don't let this false security stand you up too proudly. The thing is that you're still healing, and you are probably doing better, and things are looking bright, but you still probably have a few open wounds that you could scrape and open a lot easier than completely healed injury. So these should still get attention of being careful of your surroundings, taking extra caution and attention to the things that you're working on, even though they're healing. They're not completely over with. So don't just go balls out thinking that you can't get hurt anymore. So remember, I was saying pain should be something that you can look back on, is detached from your identity, kind of like the toy as a kid. Well, I did bite my tongue on a point until right about now, because for many of that pain, it can actually kind of slide back into your life. And mindfulness is your tool to keep it at bay. So think about it like you're driving away from all the problems, but you're also kind of leaving a lot of good things too. And it should feel really good that you've worked up the courage to let go of the good, because in my opinion, the good is quite often seen as like what they say as golden handcuffs. They're beautiful, they're magical, they're valuable, but in the end, they're still handcuffs holding you hostage. Don't wince with like the somber moments when you think back of these great things in the past. You're on this highway now, and metaphorically, you should be cruising. You should be just kind of chilling out. Don't take out your eyes off the road, just keep focusing. And all of that will be so far behind you soon enough that it will feel like that kid's toy for real, and you won't care less about the good or the bad, because you're on the path. And remember that if you're working on this, you can find peace and pain while you're in it. That's the thing. That's peace and pain is a thing that I kind of would say to myself time to time. It kind of brought me back to the present moment to feel in control. Because in my mind, peace and pain can't really coexist. Peace is a word that to me represents letting go and acceptance. Do your very best to not second guess reaching out to anyone that caused you the pain. That is literally the person you should not reach out to. So here's the thing, is these people that were keeping you down, they're going to see that you're doing better than them and you've gotten out of the bucket that they tried to hold you in. They're going to generally try to rip you back down to their level. They don't know it subconsciously necessarily. what they're doing, but they feel that they're losing power. So they want to tear you down and bring you back. That's kind of what haters do. They just want to feel bigger than you again, but you have outgrown them and you are bigger than them. So be very careful of engaging in the people in your past that try to belittle you or ruin your life or make you feel badly. I really strongly suggest getting into meditation. This is something I truly believe into. There is no good or bad, just practicing it is the meditation. You don't have to meditate for long, but just doing it a minute or two, whatever, is really important. But I'm not really here to tell you about meditation. So lastly, I want to leave you with a realization that I thought of that probably has saved my life many times over, because it's probably the most true and positive set of thoughts that I've ever had. And I want you to really remember this and try to really bury that deeply into your brain. You're not depressed because you want to die. You're not depressed because you hate life. You're depressed because you want more of it. We tend to think that life is terrible and there's nothing for us, and we just have all of those dark thoughts. But those are really deep down frustrations because we really do love life. We want to live, and we're just kind of tired and we see things in a broken way. So I want you to really remember that it's not that you hate life, it's that you want more of it. So you can slowly work up the energy and the callus to start working at building and actually going after the life. You can't rely on anybody else, and the more you do it yourself, the better your life is. Getting handouts of any sort isn't going to bring you happiness. It's this effort of working on yourself and self-realization that's really going to do it. I really hope this video reaches somebody out there and helps somebody in some way. I wish I knew this kind of thinking way back. At least these little nuggets of phrases just ringing around my brain probably would have saved me a lot of headaches, and I hope that this does for you. I am currently building something that you might like. It's not out right now, not for a little bit, but I will link it in the description below in case you are all watching this in the future. There might be some meditations and stuff, but more on that later. And again, I hope this helps you. Until next time, I love you. Peace.